When Glenford Veitch said goodbye to his life in Jamaica in hopes of fulfilling his dreams in the United States, little did he know that his lifelong goal would come at a price that he didn't expect to pay.
My name is Glenford. I'm 51 years old and I'm from St. Anne, Jamaica.
Well, Glenford, very nice to have you here today. We're going to talk a little bit about your life and about how we got to this point right here. How old were you when you came to the United States of America?
Well, I came here just about 35 years old and I moved directly to New Jersey. That's where I stayed with my mom and the rest of my family.
Born and raised in St. Anne, Jamaica, Glenford became a police officer in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, at the young age of 21 years old, where he spent the next 15 years as a police detective.
So you lived in Jamaica until you were an adult. Have
Yes.
you ever been to the U.S. prior to that?
Yes, I traveled back and forth a couple of years on a green card until I finally made the decision to move here permanently.
Okay. And so did you, when you came here, were you already married? Did you have a family established, or did you make that after you arrived in America?
Absolutely. I was already married, as a kid, and we all moved here at the same time.
And what year did you come to the United States?
I came here just about permanently, just about, it was in 2004 that we all moved here.
5 years after his arrival into the United States, Glenford got accepted into Broward College in Florida, where he started his training in professional pilot technology with Delta Connection Academy, an aviation school for Delta Airlines. As time progressed, the training became exorbitant, so he had to work multiple jobs to support his family. Consequently, Glenford went back to his first love, to protect and serve the people as a police officer.
And what brought you to America? Why did you choose to come here? What were you looking to accomplish?
Well, I've always wanted to become an airline pilot, and I believe that coming here, you know, better opportunity, I guess. So that's basically, you know, my reason.
So basically to come and
Pursue my airline career. Like I said, I've always wanted to become an airline pilot, and
do you think you would have been able to do that in Jamaica?
it's possible, but it would be much harder.
So you came here for opportunity, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so we're going to go into a little bit of what what you did when you got to America to kind of push you towards that goal. So you did say you came in 2004, and at that time you were here with a wife and a small child, and you decided to pursue becoming an airline pilot.
Yes, I did, you know, different jobs. I worked in New York, New Jersey, and saved my money, and I got accepted Delta Connection Academy, where I started my career in aviation.
And where were you living when that happened?
Well, I was living in New Jersey at the time, and then I got accepted in Broward College, Broward County, Florida, and that's why I moved down here.
So you were taking aviation at Broward College?
Absolutely. I was pursuing my bachelor's.
Did you ever finish?
No.
5 years after his arrival into the United States, Glenford got accepted into Broward College in Florida, where he started his training in professional pilot technology with Delta Connection Academy, an aviation school for Delta Airlines. As time progressed, the training became exorbitant, so he had to work multiple jobs to support his family. Consequently, Glenford went back to his first love, to protect and serve the people as a police officer.
And so, in between that time where you were working on your bachelor's, you said that you had to work. You had to work odd jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
What ultimately made you choose to become a police officer?
Well, that was always another dream of mine, becoming a cop again. Of course, since I was 21 years old, I became a cop in Jamaica. That's one of my true love. And while I was training as as a pilot with Delta Connection Academy, I found out that it became really, really expensive. And um, you know, I met with a couple of police officers here at the car dealership I was working, and we talked about it. And they said, "Why don't you join here in Florida?" I mean, they told me what to do. The next day, got enrolled, and within 4 months, I was in the academy, so,
Wow.
police academy in Miami.
So you decided to become a police officer because you were already a police officer in Jamaica?
Yes, yes. Um, like I said, that's one of my true love also, apart from becoming an airline pilot. And I figured I could do both, so I continued working and training and.
In 2010, he sponsored himself for training in law enforcement at the Miami-Dade College Police Academy. A year later, upon his graduation, he began searching for employment as a police officer. In October of 2011, he accepted his first offer of employment with the Lauderhill Police Department in Broward County, Florida.
And so I have to ask because, we are in this, of course, new generation. And, basically what we're talking about here today is a little bit of corruption. Would you say you saw corruption in the American police force as well as the Jamaican police force?
Well, I know about here based on my experience. Like I said, I work odd jobs and sponsored myself in the police academy here. Became a cop. Got hired at the Lauderhill Police Department, and that's where everything started going downhill for me.
He saw this opportunity as a new chapter in his law enforcement career, except this is where his reputation was tarnished.
Okay, so you said you got hired by the Lauderhill Police Department. Why did you choose that department specifically?
Well, they were the first one who actually hired me. I had multiple, applications out, and that department was the first one who actually hired me.
Did you do any research on them before you decided to join?
No, not really. I just wanted to get hired, so,
Have you done any research after?
I don't want to.
So, basically in 2011, you're accepted to the city of Lauderhill Police Department.
Yes.
Tell me what that was like.
Terrible. Terrible. From day one, total harassment. The name calling. I was asked, how did I manage to get here? How did I manage to leave a corrupt country like Jamaica and get into their police department?
Mm-hmm.
How did I slip through the cracks to get here?
Right.
And what did I have to do to get in? So from day one, it was total and complete harassment.
Was there a mode to be able to complain, or did you pretty much have to endure whatever you can stand?
Well, I endured it for the most part, because they'll tell you, you keep your mouth shut and maybe you'll survive your training, the field training. So I did just that. I kept my mouth shut, hoping that it would go away.
And obviously, it never went away.
Never went away, no.
During your field training, did you receive different training than others because you had been a police officer prior, the equivalent of others, or would you say you had more training than others?
I would say same training as others.
Not educational background, but
Yes.
just level.
In the field, yes.
Okay.
Same training.
So basically, any decisions that you would have made, you could see another one of your fellow police officers making that same decision. As far as maybe scoping out a crime scene or analyzing a suspect, do you think your judgment was equivalent to everyone?
No, absolutely.
Who was near
Absolutely,
you?
absolutely.
Let's talk about where the dream ended.
It started out basically one afternoon we were on patrol, and we got a call that there was a robbery. Of course, we showed up, my training officer and myself, and there was a lady who got robbed. Upon talking to her, we found out that she was robbed of her purse, jewelry, cash, whatever. And so other officers came on the scene, and we started scouring the area, searching for the suspect. A few minutes later, we came up to a guy, 3 guys, who matched the description. So I actually got out of the car and, you know, verbal command, told them to get down on the ground. 2 complied, but 1 would not. However, upon closer, observation, I noticed his hand was in the pocket, the side pocket. So I kept yelling at this guy, "Let me see your hands." All of a sudden, there was a gun coming up from his side pocket. So I'm standing in front of this guy, 6, 7 feet from him, yelling. So I yelled to my training officer, "Gun, gun, gun." So she took cover, called for backup. So I'm yelling with this guy. I can't imagine how long until the guy put the gun down. Backup came, and I'm standing away from all 3 of these guys, the gun on the ground, and they came up to me, why didn't you shoot? I'm like, but he didn't raise the weapon. No, that's not how we do it here. You take the shot, You see a gun, you squeeze the trigger. I'm like, but he didn't raise the weapon. We don't take chances, you just squeeze the trigger. From then on, I was treated differently, It's crazy. I mean, if there's a 1% chance that I don't have to take somebody's life, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? That was my call. I didn't take the shot, and things ended well. So, from then on, it was, you're not doing your job, and, you should have taken the shot. And that continued for the next couple of weeks, yes.
And it's just not you. It's just not in you to do that. You didn't feel that. I mean, feel that
don't get me wrong. I would never endanger an officer's life or put an officer's life in danger. I would never do that. That's my job, to protect a fellow officer.
Yes.
So I'm trained to do what I have to do. But
Survival.
exactly. But at the time, I didn't. I made that decision not to shoot this 19-year-old kid, young guy. I made the decision, and I came under a lot of pressure for that, and maybe that's why I'm here today.
So let's talk about that moment and the very moment where you decided to basically spare this kid's life. If you could do it all again, would you still have attempted to do so?
If I would have shot the guy?
Would you still have refrained from shooting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would not have done anything different. I would not have done that.
Fast forward to, we'll say, a little bit of time after that incident. Had you been receiving any sort of harassment
Oh, yeah.
prior to that?
After the incident?
Yes.
Yeah, that continued for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, until they finally decided to set me up and lied, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, just about.
Do you think there would have been a difference in treatment if this was a non-black teen?
I'm not sure.
Nevertheless, you said you don't regret that decision.
No, I don't. And I know I'll probably suffer for the rest of my life for this. But at the end of the day, I believe I made the right decision.
Why do you say for the rest of your life? Do you
Because of what they did to me a month later. A month later, got another call, responded to a burglary. My training officer and myself, we showed up, only to find out that there was a suspect in the house. Now, we don't know who's in the house. He called for backup. By then, a number of officers came, surrounded the house, I'm standing at the back of the house. All of a sudden, I'm hearing the side window. When I looked to the side, there was a suspect coming out the window. There was an officer right there. Grabbed the suspect, put the suspect on the ground. I'm running to help him to put the suspect in handcuff. As I'm running towards him, a second suspect jumped out the window. The only thing I remember doing was extending my hand, to push the suspect off me. The suspect crashed into me. I slid on the grass. I had an accidental discharge, and everything went downhill from there.
So, when you accidental discharge, let's explain a little bit more of what that means.
When my gun accidentally fired due to the impact of the suspect coming out the window.
And it's something that's normal.
Could be, but it happened to me.
Right. So, the accidental discharge, was it looked at the same way as the prior incident? Were you looked at as being at fault?
Oh, absolutely.
Immediately? Was it?
Absolutely, because they lied. I wrote my report sometime later as to exactly what happened. A group of these officers came together and wrote a totally different report, saying that I chased the suspect down and tried to put a bullet in the back of the suspect. This was a 17-year-old girl. Why would I do that?
The crime scene investigator stated in her report that she spent over 3 hours searching for the spent casing and could not find same with a metal detector. She claimed she found it with a naked eye 6 hours later. Glenford asked his attorney to get her to testify, but they all said she is not important to the case and that she was fired from the department a few days after the incident and could not be found. Even though there is sufficient evidence to prove that one of the police officers who came to court and lied was not on the scene when the incident occurred, no one is looking into that.
3 weeks prior, 3 weeks...
Did you even see the suspect?
Hardly. Everything happened within
seconds.
Within seconds. I almost shot myself in my own leg. That's how fast it happened. She jumped the fence, turned out to be a 17-year-old girl. I was standing in front of a guy just about a month prior with a gun in his hand. I didn't shoot the guy. Luckily for both of us, he complied and eventually put the gun down. And then, a month later, I'm going to go put a bullet in the back of a 17-year-old girl. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? There was a chain link fence there. She was already over the fence. What they did, they removed the spent casing from where it happened, planted it maybe 40, 50 feet down to the back of the house, and wrote their report, and everybody believed them. Everybody believed them.
Police dispatch, along with GPS tracking, would prove he was not there. Instead, Glenford stated that at least on 4 occasions, he was approached by undercover officers and told to leave the United States and never come back.
Destroyed my life completely. Lies. And the police department found out what they did and covered it up. Covered it up. Over 30 of these officers were terminated from the police department. Nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about it. And I'm out there asking for help. Nobody's listening to me. Nobody is listening to what I have to say.
Glenford was also told if he stays and pursues this, other officers could lose their jobs. Glenford also believes if the Florida Department of Law Enforcement or the FBI had gotten involved in the investigation, the outcome would have ended differently.
I went all over the country. I've been to CNN headquarters in Atlanta. I'm trying to get through to even Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, anybody. I mean Atlanta. Absolutely. Because I've been through 4 attorneys. Everybody took my money, and asked me to leave it alone because it's 4 officers against me. Nobody's going to believe me. I went to the FBI's office in Miami, the headquarters FBI office in Miami, asked for help. They said they would get back to me. Nobody. I went to Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, asked for their help. In fact, I went there twice. Nobody's listening to what I have to say. Nobody's doing any kind. I even went to the BSO sheriff, asked for help. Nobody. I ended up in Washington, D.C., where I spoke to a federal agent, ask for help. Nobody's here on my side. I did everything. I've done everything, and I'm out here suffering, and nobody wants to hear my side.
Well, I definitely want to hear that side of the story, and I think a lot of people should hear this. Again, there's really not a big difference between the two suspects that you helped, because it seems that your intentions were all that genuine. So I don't think if you were avoiding shooting one, that you would attempt to shoot another one. And anyone who's pretty logical would probably see it the right way.
This was a 17-year-old girl. Why would I do that? She's over the fence. They removed the spent casing from where the whole thing happened. They removed it, planted evidence at another location, and said that's where it happened. Right? I was subpoenaed 6 months later. I was subpoenaed to go to court. 6 months later, when I found out what was happening, I went. I went back to the scene, because I'm trying to get a private investigator to retrieve the bullet from the ground. Officers were there 3 hours before that.
Do you think they found the bullet?
Of course they did. They spent hours there digging. They went with a landscaping team, and they dug up the entire area where the incident took place. I asked the owner of the house, what happened? She said the officers were there a couple hours ago. They spent the entire day with the landscaping team. There was a brand new lawn. A brand new lawn was put in hours before I got there. You understand? And they fired. I went and I did my own polygraph. I paid for my own polygraph, and it was sent to the department. And they fired over 30 of these guys. Nobody heard about that. Over 30, and they covered it up. They covered it up. I've spoken to over 100 officers, and everybody's saying, I'm just one person, and they're going to cover that up to protect the department. That's what they're going to do.
And why do you think they went against you? What was the motive?
Well, I'm yet to understand. The only thing they kept saying, the standard of the department is going down. Why people like me could leave a corrupt country like Jamaica to come all the way here and join their police department. How did I manage to do that? How did I slip through the crack? Why would I slip through the crack to become a police officer?
Something different. I think for a lot of people it's money. I think you really had the passion.
Of course, that's my passion. I wanted to serve. I wanted to do. This has destroyed my life. My son, he can't even go to college. I had to send him in he's now a U.S. Marine serving in Japan. My daughter, I had to send her back to Jamaica. My son, he's somewhere in the United States, in another state. I mean, my life is over. You know, I had to sleep on the street for weeks. You know, I had to be begging food. I had to be begging food to survive. How did I arrive at that though? And they're there.
American dream.
Yes, they're there. They're able to provide for their kids, their family, and mine. I don't even know where mine is right now. Everybody's gone. My life is completely destroyed. You know, I have to be sleeping on the street, nowhere to live. How did my life? How did I end up in this situation?
Saved one life and lost your own.
Yes. How? I'm still trying to wake up. I'm still trying to wake up from this because I'm still trying. I'm still hoping that somebody will come to me one day and tell me this is all a mistake. You know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
For you, I would love that, but I believe that's the reason that we have to get this word out, so that people can understand exactly what really, really happened to you. Not everybody who comes here to live the American dream get to live the American dream. So that you attempted it was great. That they stopped you from it, I completely empathize with you. I want to go back to that night. I really, well, was it night? What time of day was it?
The incident,
Yes.
the suspect in the house,
Yes.
it was morning,
Morning. So,
about 8:45 thereabout in the morning.
and basically that was the morning that changed your whole life.
Destroyed my life. I can't even.
Would you have shot either suspect if the weapon was raised?
If the weapon was raised, I would have no choice but to protect myself and protect the other officer that I'm working with. But he didn't raise the weapon, and that's why I made that decision.
Again, I just imagine the amount of calm it takes to keep sane in that situation, knowing that you were robbed of
Everything, my whole life is destroyed. I have not slept in 7 years. I have not had a proper night rest in 7 years. You know,
7 years is a long time.
I haven't worked my
Do
whole
you
life.
sleep?
I don't sleep anymore. I don't.
What about police officers? What does that, does it give you anxiety to be around them?
I don't even know. I would go up to them, talk to them whenever I can. I mean, what am I gonna do? They're police officers, you know. They're police officers.
You have all the reason to be so angry.
But I'm not. I mean, police officers, they are the good guys, right? And I'm not gonna say because of a bunch of guys who lied on me, you know, and destroyed my life. You do have, most of the officers are good people. They are good people, and as one coming from you know, law enforcement background, I'm not angry.
For now, he remains hopeful that the FBI will see this and help him get the justice he deserves.